Shri Shambho Ramanatha. Welcome to another session of Shiva Purana. In the last session, we saw how Shiva shared the knowledge of achieving Shivatva to Shakti, which we call as Agama Shastras, and we spoke about what are the different types of Agama Shastras and how one may achieve the Shiva Tattva or the Shivatva. If you remember, all this was started because Narada visited Kailasa and he found both Shiva and Sati lost in meditation and dhyana. By the way, if you are wondering why I am looking more religious than normal, the answer is today is the first day of what we call as the Gupta Navaratri, which is a secret Navaratri performed by Dikshit initiated sadhakas. This is also the time where in Kamakhya, which is considered to be the yoni, the vagina, if you want to call it, of Sati, which we will see in Shiva Purana, landed and fell on earth. This yoni is said to bleed like a woman has monthly menstrual cycle. The Kamakhya temple is considered to bleed its menstrual cycle annually, and these are the 9 days starting from today. So I have undertaken a small diksha upon myself for these 9 days. Well, coming back to the story, if you remember, Narada had visited Kailasa, and it is here that he found Shiva and Shakti in deep meditation. Now, Narada doesn't disturb Shiva and Sati but moves on. And he visits Swarga, where Indra and the other devatas reside. Of course, there is an elaborate description of how Swarga or heaven is. I think it is common amongst all, religious dharmic texts, how it is full of pleasure, where nymphs are dancing, where wine is flowing like milk, where everything to do with pleasure is overflowing. But anyway, our detached Devarishi, Narada, reaches there. Narayana, Narayana, chanting with his tamburi and his kindles, chitike as we call it in Kannada. Everybody comes and prostrates before Narada because he is the one who is much more knowledgeable than even the Devas, because he is the Rishi for the Devas also. He is the highest Rishi. One such person who comes in front of him is Shachi Devi, the wife of Indra. She is very interested to know about Kailasa, how Shiva and Sati are doing. And Narada informs her about the deep meditative state that Shiva is in, his normal samadhi state, and how Sati is always connected to Shiva and meditating on the Shiva Tattva. Everything is Shivamaya, everything is Jnanamaya, everything is Dhyana and Samadhi in Kailasa. Sachi is shocked. She says, then what is the point of getting married? Isn't the whole purpose of marriage to create attraction between the male and the female? Isn't this why Ardhanarishwara Rupa, or the Ardhanarishwara form, was revealed to Chaturmukha Brahma, who created man and woman? And if Shiva and Shakti do not play their part, how is it that for all future generations, the attraction between the male and female be created seamless. Of course, Indra, who is the god of all these deities, decides that he will send Kamadeva and Rati. Kamadeva is the Hindu Sanatana equivalent of Cupid, the god of love, whose very purpose is to create attraction between the two sexes. If you look at what is happening around the world right now, you will see that we are creating artificial intelligence which is capable of thinking deeper and faster than humans. Do you think that we can create sexes? Can we create a male artificial intelligence or a female artificial intelligence? Even if we did, do you think that we could create attraction between them so they could reproduce and create babies? Food for thought. But anyway, Indra sends Rati and Manmatha. Kamadeva is also called Manmatha. They go to Kailasa and try to create this fatal attraction between Shiva and Sati, who are both sitting in deep meditation. Shiva is in Samadhi and Shakti is in the dhyana of Shiva. Kama and Rati, they come, they dance around, and very erotic rituals in poses which can create a lot of eroticism for normal humans. Nothing happens. Shiva is not woken from his deep samadhi. Neither is Sati disturbed with anything that is going around her, happening around her. Rati and Manmatha, Kamadeva have a deep discussion whether we can disturb, whether we should disturb such deeply meditative couple. But it is Kamadeva who understands that this is the Adesh of Indra. This is the order of Indra to create this attraction. And Rati, who is supposed to be the most beautiful woman ever made, I think after Saraswati. We will talk about that story in another time, where Brahma falls in love with the most beautiful female he's ever created, his own mental daughter, and marries her. That's for another time. But definitely Manmatha is considered to be the most beautiful, handsome male ever created. And Rati requests Manmatha, Kamadeva, to shoot the arrow of love on the couple for the sake of creation, for all the future generations that are supposed to come. It becomes inevitable for Kamadeva, for Manmatha, to shoot the arrow of love. It is called the Pushpa Bana, the arrow made up of flowers. Of course, flowers also represent the reproductive organ of nature. The birds and the bees go around collecting nectar from flowers and pollinate the other plant. We know that. But very few of us realize that they are the reproductive organs of trees and plants. And we offer these flowers to our deities when we do worship, when we do upasana, as symbolic offering of our own genitals. Because we can't and we shouldn't. The flowers are offered. So the flower bow is released, lo and behold, the arrow creates magic. Suddenly, Shiva and Sati get attracted, and the entire universe gets polarized as male and female. If you look at a magnet, you see that it has two poles. They call it plus and minus, North Pole and South Pole. And you will see that the opposite attracts. The South Pole of one magnet attracts the North Pole of the other magnet, and so on and so forth. So this is how the entire universe gets polarized into male and female. According to Sanatana Hindu dharmic wisdom, everything has two jatis. There are only two jatis. Jatis do not mean caste, they mean two sexes. The male and female. Trees, leaves, plants, animals, even stones, rivers, everything in nature has male and female. Just as there are female rivers, nadis, there are male rivers, nadas. Just as there are male, maybe you don't know, you're not aware of it, but there are male boulders and female boulders, and these sculptures in the past knew how to identify. If you want to learn, maybe I can teach it to you later. Drop in a line, tell me if you're interested. Even now, good sculptures choose male stones and leave out female stones for particular carvings. So everything in the universe gets polarized. The Nitya Leela of Shiva and Shakti starts. And it is said that this attraction and this polarization spreads all around, just as everything becomes a Shiva Maya and Shakti Maya, which it already is. Cut to Narada is visiting Vishnu Loka, the Kshira Samudra. And Vishnu is alone, as we have already spoken. Lakshmi is not yet born, because she is born out of the Samudra Manthan, the churning of the ocean for ambrosia, the nectar of immortality, which is another story that we will visit in this series. Narada visits Vishnu, and he instigates a deep discussion, asking, because he himself is a Vairagi, he himself is a yogi, instigating Vishnu to answer the question of whether Shiva was better off as a yogi, as a Vairagi, or did he have to marry and become a rishi? The word rishi starts appearing now. Was married life, grihastha jivana, really important? What is the meaning of this? Wasn't Sati and Shiva beautiful when they were meditating as yogis on top of Mount Kailas? Did they have to permeate the entire universe? Why did this happen? Why is this happening? Vishnu laughs. He says, do you recall that at the beginning of this Manvantara, Brahma created 10 Manasaputras, 10 mental children, sons, and none of them were interested in increasing the progeny. None of them were interested in making more people, a sustainable life. To have sustainable life, two people must come together and make a third one. Making babies is very, very important in Sanatana Hindu Dharma. Prajotpatti, the word is Prajotpatti, the creation of citizens. Narada, who is a Vairagi, who is a yogi, really does not understand all this. He says, I am unable. Even the mighty Devarishi says, I am unable to understand the Leelas of Sadashiva. I cannot understand Shiva. To which Vishnu says, even I cannot understand the mind of Shiva. The Shiva Chitta is beyond the comprehension of even the mighty Vishnu. He says, let me share a story of intrigue and astonishment from the previous Manvantara. Would you be interested to know? I will share. Shiva shares the story of what happened in the previous Manvantara with Narada. It is Vishnu who is filled with devotion and bhakti of Shiva in his heart and decides that he will create a Shiva Sahasranama. Sahasranama meaning 1,000 names of Shiva. Of course, we can have infinite names of Shiva because he is the creation, he is the creator, he is the creatrix, he is the only isness in this world. So everything is Shiva. But anyway, 1,000 names are created, and with each name, Vishnu has taken an intention, a sankalpa to worship each name of Shiva with 1,000 lotuses. So he goes on, Shivaya Namaha, Rudraya Namaha, Sadhyo Jataya Namaha, and so forth. 999 names have been completed. The 100th name is to come. But he sees that Shiva has made the last, of course he doesn't know this yet, Shiva has made the last lotus disappear. There are only 999 lotuses, but the 1,000th name has to be completed. Shiva is taking note of what Vishnu is going to do. Vishnu is zapped because he is very sure that he has counted 1,000 lotuses. And he has taken the sankalpa, the intention of finishing this ritual and of not getting up without completion of this ritual. As you know, once you make an intention, you cannot get up from your asana. Just like I have made a sankalpa of not getting up from this asana where I'm sitting without finishing this session. Now what to do? There is no 1,000th lotus. He cannot get up. He cannot go get one from the lake. This is when a deep thought occurs in him. It says, you are a Kamala Nayana. Your eyes are that of a lotus. Rajiva Lochana. We call all the avatars of Vishnu as Rajiva Lochana, Kamala Nayana. Why don't you pluck your eye and finish the Sahasranama ritual? This is all a test by Shiva himself. Of course, Vishnu takes an arrow and is about to pluck his eyes out when Shiva stops him, and in his hand is a lotus that he is holding, which is picked up from the offering that was to be made. And he says, I am very happy with your devotion. Indeed, Vishnu, you are the #1 Shiva Bhakta of this entire multiverse. Vishnu is the Parama Shiva Bhakta, and Shiva, we will see later, is also the Parama Vishnu Bhakta. Shivascha Hridayam Vishnuhu, Vishnuscha Hridayam Shivaha, Yatha Shivamayor Vishnuhu, Evam Vishnumaya Shivaha. In the heart of Shiva resides Vishnu, in the heart of Vishnu resides Shiva. Where there is Vishnu, there is Shiva, and where there is Shiva, there is Vishnu. The one who sees the difference between the two is banished for eternal hell. This is what the mantra says. Of course, this is the story in the Purana, and Vishnu is offered the Sudarshana Chakra as a reward. And Shiva tells him that in one hand you have the Shankha, the conch for calling the Dharma or awakening Dharma. In one hand you have lotus symbolizing bhakti and devotion. In one hand you have the mace, the Gadha, for punishing the wrongdoers. But you will be a part of Sanhara or Pralaya, which is the portfolio of Shiva, that is the dissolution of the universe, for which you will need Sudarshana Chakra for Shatru Vinasha, for ending the adharmis, vidharmis. So here, this is the story. What is the hidden meaning? There is a term called Prabhavapyayo. Every beginning is the end, every end is the beginning. With every birth there is death, and with every death there is birth. There is both creation and destruction simultaneously happening in every moment. The act of creation has destruction embedded in it, and the act of destruction has creation embedded in it. Vishnu, as the preserver, has to maintain the balance between the two, has to maintain the balance between creation and dissolution. So they are actually exchanging their portfolios of preservation and destruction. Let me tell you, I'll give you an example. If you drive a car, the moment you start the car and start moving the car forward, you will say, this is preservation, this is action, this is Vishnu. The car is moving. The whole movement, the whole gati of this universe and the multiverses found in the Sanatana Hindu pantheon. In the cosmology of Sanatana Dharma, there are multiple universes which are running parallelly, and all of them are preserved and balanced out by Vishnu. But just as a car which is moving forward needs to burn and destroy fuel, diesel or petrol or electricity or whatever, you will agree that for the movement to happen, the destruction of fuel is absolutely important. Similarly, for Vishnu to sustain, for Vishnu to preserve, he also needs to destroy. And to destroy, the Sudarshana Chakra is also presented by Shiva himself in the previous Manvantara. As Kalki, the last avatara of Vishnu, he is to destroy the entire universe and rid it of all the adharmis and vidharmis. As you can recall from Bhagavad Gita, the very popular mantra, Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Glanir Bhavati Bharata, Abhyutthanam Adharmasya Tadatmanam Sujanyaham, Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Cha Dushkritam, Dharma Samstharpanarthaya Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. Every yuga, Vishnu will come and destroy the adharma and establish the rule of sadhus, establish the rule of dharma, for which he needs to be equipped, which is the portfolio of Shiva, destruction. So you will see going forward that clarity of preservation and destruction gets all muddled up. Shiva does Vishnu's job, Vishnu does Shiva's job, Shiva is Shakti, Shakti is Shiva, and so forth. That is why it is so difficult for an average sadhaka to go back to the source. Remember, the story is flowing from top to bottom, and if you have to reach the Shivatva, if you want to reach the unity of Trika, then you must go from bottom to top. Let me stop here. and ask for any questions if you have. And one more thing, if any one of you want to know the secret of Sudarshana Chakra, please write to me, send me a direct message, and I will be happy to give you a private class, a lesson on what Sudarshana Chakra is and how you can acquire this beautiful destruction of adharma in your own life. I'm going to pause now and ask for questions if you have any, and then we can continue. So we will conclude today's session with a small dhyana mantra as always, and we will continue with the next session. And I hope you can share this video with your friends and family. We are getting into more and more beautiful stories of Shiva, Shakti, Vishnu, and how this Manvantara proceeded and how they are still playing the game, and we are all a part of this beautiful Leela of Shiva and the Maya of Shakti. With this, let us start the prayers. Dhyana Moolam Gurur Murtihi Puja Moolam Gurur Padam Mantra Moolam Gurur Vakyam Moksha Moolam Gurur Krupa. Shri Shambho Ramanatha. Shri Shambho Ramanatha. So I'll see you in the next session. Jai Shri Ram.